Today, I'm going to share with you that is secretly shown in every single structure of personal transformation. And if you can understand this by the end of this training, how to move through every single season of change that you're going through, your progress will get 10 times better and your progress will happen way more faster. But not only that, you personally will be able to handle these seasons of change way more easily than maybe what you're going through now. Now, when I say this is secretly shown in every structure of change, here's what I mean. The first one is psychologists. Psychologists have created this structure of change called the emotional cycle of change. It's the natural process that people go through. And what I'm going to share with you today is hidden in this exact process. Same thing when it comes to the hero's journey, when it comes to entrepreneurship, and they talk about success and transformation, it's also hidden inside the hero's journey. And lastly, even for the spiritual gurus and the spiritual side of things, it's also hidden in their transformation structure as well, which is the dark night of the soul, where you go, you're transforming yourself, you go through the void to become awakened or whatever it may be. So let's dive into what that is today. First and foremost, what happens when most people are trying to change their lives? What happens is most of the time we get caught up in a cycle, right? We're sick of this pain that we're in. We go, go, go. We're motivated to take action because when the pain is hot enough, that moves us to change our lives. We go, we're getting new results. Things are getting better. Then we plateau. Then we start to get burnt out. Then we start to slow down. And then things fall downhill. And then it restarts over and over and over again. For some of you, that's your New Year's resolutions. For some of you, that's your business plateau that you're stuck in right now for the past year, 6 months, 3 years, whatever it may be. For some of you, it's the relationships you keep finding yourself in. Whatever it may be, the cycle continues. Or we go, we try to change, and immediately, as soon as we hit resistance, a challenge, a struggle that tests us, we retreat back to the comfort zone. And then lastly is we question, why is this happening to me? Why is my life falling apart? Why are things not improving as quick as I want? Why can't it be easier? Today, I'm going to help you break that questioning once and for all. So, first and foremost, there's 4 seasons that we're going to cover here today when it comes to the seasons of change. Now, this is something the man himself, my personal idol, Tony Robbins, talks about in all of his top people he works with. These are billionaires that this guy works with. These are thousands and thousands of people this guy works with that he shares this exact same process. He talks about how if you can become a master of mastering your cycles and understanding the seasons of change and your hidden patterns, you will transform your life at the highest level. You will go all the way. So the first thing that we're going to cover here is spring, then we have summer, then we have the fall season, and then we have winter. So same thing like the natural seasons of nature. One thing we got to remember, we're humans, we're animals as well. We are part of nature. Nature goes through the same seasons. Okay? And here's what I'm going to show you. So this is how I like to explain growth. Most people think that growth is just a constant linear line, but it's not like that. It's kind of exponential. It compounds in a way. And here's how I like to put it. So you start out, this is your identity baseline. Okay? So this is your identity baseline, who you think you are. And then you go and you're taking action because you're sick of being here. You don't want to be stuck here anymore. So you're taking action. You're changing your life. Everything's going good for a little bit. You have that great spurt. But then what happens is an identity mismatch. So an identity mismatch happens right at this line here. And that's where your actions and your results are no longer in alignment with who you believe you are. And as a human, as an animal, that's dangerous. That's unsafe. That's uncertainty. That's not predictable. So then what happens is the downfall, and we crash and we go back to square one. A lot of us go back to square one. Some of us, though, we know how this works and we keep going and we keep growing. And if you're going through this right now, don't feel bad. I have just gone, I went through this for over 3 years. I was stuck in a business plateau and I could not break through. So if you're going through this, I hear you, I feel you. But don't give up. Don't give up and do not feel ashamed. This is just the natural part of growth. That's why you're here today. So that's kind of how it happens. And then what happens to a lot of people, though, if you look at, most marriages fail nowadays, sadly. Most businesses fail nowadays, sadly. Most people cannot lose weight and get their health back on track, sadly. What you see across the board is most people cannot make long-term changes. They're kind of so stuck in their own way. And what happens is we get to this box and we stay in this box over and over and over again until eventually we get that spurt and we try to change. But again, some people are able to break that cycle and to keep the growth going. And that's what I'm going to share with you today, exactly how to do that. But that is a cycle of growth, that's a cycle of change. Another way to put it, though, if you look at kind of if you're I'm very spiritual, so if you look at kind of the spiritual way, is when it comes to your own soul, okay, your own personal self, if you want to expand and transform your life, right, there's going to be things that you need to sacrifice, that you need to let go. You're going to need to experience the pain so you can be clear on what the good is that you want, right? You go through the bad so you know what the good is. You experience all these rough things so then you can take that, alchemize it, turn it into your power. So as a soul, if we look at it, it's like, okay, you're raising your consciousness, you're expanding, becoming more connected with your soul. And then you go back and you constrict. And in this constriction is where you realize all the things that like old baggage, old things you need to let go to work through. So that way you can continue to expand, to remember yourself more, to learn about yourself more, to realize your power more. So even in the worst of the worst, it's all there for you. So that's how I'd like to explain growth when it comes to anything. If you look at the stock market, everything, it all goes through cycles. There's always, always, always cycles in every single area. So, or most areas, I would say. So the four seasons of change: spring, summer, fall, and winter. Okay, so spring is the purple right here. Spring is where it's that slow season, right? You're planting seeds. The farmer's planting the seeds into the ground, but he's not overthinking it. He's not worrying about it. He's not digging them up every second to check them out. He's not expecting them to, become these beautiful plants or flowers in the next day. No, spring is the time of building and creating and doing your part, right? It's a slow season. And then we have the expansion. That's summer. Oh my gosh, the results are coming so effortless. Change is happening so easy. And mind you, I will say this, that every season's different and it comes in different time lengths. Some seasons will be 3 months, some seasons will be 2 weeks, some seasons will be 2 years. It happens. Everyone's different. But if you can understand the overall idea of this in the seasons, and you also have little seasons in every area of your life as well. Like for me, sometimes I'll be in a summer season changing my body. Sometimes I'll be in a winter season in my business, right? We hit different seasons, and that's really important to know because I'm going to break that down later on what you can focus on if you're going through a winter season. But summer is where everything's happening for you. It's happening so, or you easily see it's happening for you. It's so easy. You're just winning and winning and winning and winning. Like success is just, it's impossible to fail. And then fall comes around. Old system starts to break down a little bit. Results start to slow down a little bit. You have to kind of reflect, maybe make some changes. That's the fall season. And then winter. And winter is where the death season comes around. The death of the old self, the death of old beliefs, old systems, the old identity. It's where things are breaking apart, relationships end. You feel like you're completely losing control. That's the winter season. And I'll tell you, winter season is where most people give up when they're trying to change their lives. Think of it. You're losing weight. You start to diet, you start working out, you work out, you're in spring, nothing's happening, but you're motivated, you're fired up because you want change in your life because you're sick of being unhealthy, you're sick of having no confidence, right? Same thing in business. You're sick of being broke, you're sick of working for somebody that you don't like, you're sick of not having freedom, all right? You want to give your family a better life. That's the motivation. So you get to work, you invest in the business, you put the work in rep after rep after rep after rep. That's spring. And then guess what? Oh my gosh, you start to get results. You got your first deal closed. You got your first contract. You lost your first 10 pounds. Things are going great. This is easy. You're going to be able to ride that wave forever. So you think. Fall comes around. Oh, why are results not happening as quickly anymore? That deal kind of shattered. I realized I forgot to put this in the contract and I just missed out on a big amount of whatever it may be. Okay, fall, things are kind of breaking a little bit. And then winter. I hit a plateau. Nothing's happening. I had a huge expense. I went through a lawsuit. I lost this deal in business. I cannot break this plateau. And the winter kills so many dreams. The winter kills so many dreams and hopes. And it sends us right back down to the old comfort zone, the exact place that we forgot that we're trying to get away from in the first place. So imagine by the end of this training today that you know exactly how each season works and you know exactly how to show up in each season and how to work through this. you are going to be a master of personal transformation. This is the exact stuff that I teach my one-to-one clients at Beyond Identity who are building massive dreams and massive businesses and accomplishing a much greater life for themselves. So, why do these seasons happen in the first place? Why do these seasons happen in the first place? This is going to be my personal opinion of what I would say. Number one is that my beliefs are, first and foremost, the bad is there for you. Okay, the pain is there for you. If you never experience the pain and what you don't like, how would you be clear on what you do like and do want? All the bad is there for us to learn from so we can go out and grow and change into the better. That's the first thing. Number two is natural cycles of life. These are just natural cycles that occur. It's the life cycle. Okay, it's the expansion cycle, whatever you want to call it. Three is you need to let go and make room for what's next. When you ask for more, it is given, but it's never how it seems, right? Think of it like the example of you're changing out your room. I want a better room. I want a beautiful room. I want an amazing room that makes me more happier and gives me more richness and better life. Okay. Well, before I get that room, guess what's going to happen? It's going to fall apart. I got to get rid of the old junk. I got to clean it out. I got to be patient. I got to put in the work. I actually got to do it. I got to go buy the new stuff. I got to invest into it. And the results are going to be there for a bit. But eventually, if I just keep going, that room's going to change. And I'm going to be so relieved. I'm going to be so happy that I got it done. So you need to let go. You need to let go of old baggage. You need to sacrifice the old self. You got to let it all go. Next is you build the identity needed for what's next. Your identity determines the level of success that you can handle. If you want change in your life, the old identity must die. In that death is fear, uncertainty, pain, and struggle. That is the winter season. That is the fall season. It is a part of personal transformation that you're going to go through. That's your animal self because the brain is designed to keep you secure, to safe, make sure things are familiar and predictable. So as you are changing your life, your automatic animal senses or self is going to fight against that. The ego, for example, is the protector of identity. It's going to whisper the negative thoughts. It's going to push fear down your throat and doubt in your mind and make you feel that it's real and that you should just go back to the cave. You should just go back to the comfort zone and give up. It's all a part of the process. But the problem is that we're not taught this stuff and most people don't know this stuff. So when they experience these things, they personalize those negative thoughts. They personalize the doubt. They identify with the fear and feel like it's real and it slows them down and it stops them and they get stuck over and over and over and over and over again. It just kills their belief. It kills their confidence. So my job here today is to help you work through that and break through that. So that one thing I guess you should know though, out of all this here, is that it's all for you. Everything that's happening is happening for you. And you might understand that in this lifetime. You might understand that when you become your full soul again after death. But one day you will understand that. And the faster you can understand that, the faster your life is going to get better and progress. But it's all for you. Every single thing. I take it all. Every terrible thing that's happened in my life that is the worst of the worst, I don't want anything to be changed. I am so happy it all happened. I want it all. I want it all because I know that it's all for me. One way or another, I know that it's all for me. So it's all for you. First, before we really break this down, we should talk about the biggest mistakes that people make. So I've coached over 500 clients to transform themselves. These are the biggest mistakes people make when it comes to the seasons of change. Number one is the wrong trust focus. Here's what I mean. You never lack trust. You just trust in one thing more than the other. So a lot of people, when they're in the winter seasons and things are falling apart, they put their trust into hey, this is what's going on in my life right now. It's always going to be this way. So I need to go back to the old way where it was more comfortable. But it's like, no, things are falling apart right now because you asked for change. You need to trust in the process. You need to trust in the natural flow of life that if you keep doing your part and you put in the work and the reps, that the results will come. If you plant those seeds, even though you don't see the flower the next day, you have to trust that it's going to happen if you do your part. Take care of it. Don't put pesticides if you can, right? You don't want to be unhealthy. Kill the bugs that are around. Take care of it. Like I said, water it. Do your part and trust. Don't focus on, why don't I see any growth? Why is the plant not breaking free? Because you know what you're going to do then? You're going to be all anxious. You're going to dig up that seed and you're going to ruin it. You're going to ruin it. So just do your part. The next thing, not knowing what season you're in. You might be in a winter season, right? Or you might think that you're in a summer season when maybe you're in a fall season, or you're in a fall season when maybe you're or you think you're in a spring season, whatever it may be. It's important to know what season you're in because then you can show up and approach that season completely differently than if you were in a different season. For example, spring is a time to slow down so you can speed up. But summer is a time to go all the way. All gas, no brakes is what I say. Because you're riding that momentum. You maximize that. Summer's not a time to slow down, okay, or celebrate too hard and ruin that momentum. Summer's a time to maximize summer. But spring is a time to really slow down, to build so you can speed up. It's like, again, you're harvesting your crops. You plant the seeds. It's a slower time of the year. You're taking your time. You don't want to rush that process. But as soon as it's time to grow and as soon as it's time to harvest, boom, get on that because it's going to rot. It's going to go bad. So you go, 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 go. You go hard. And it's easy though because you're celebrating it all. You're getting it all. It's already done. The job's done. Now you just got to do your part and go, 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 go. Ride that momentum. Next is giving up in winter. Biggest one. You let the fear and the doubt eat you up and collapse you back, right? This happens when we don't work on our nervous system, when we don't regulate ourselves, when we don't relax, when we let our minds be too focused on the bad and the stress and the negatives. Keep buying into the old story, you're going to keep reading the same story. You're going to come to the same conclusion every time. So giving up in winter, it's a huge one. It's a huge one. This is the biggest one is giving up in a winter season. I always tell my clients this, and this worked every single time. I said, I don't care if you want to give up, but if you're going to give up on me, or you're going to give up on yourself, actually, you give up when you're doing amazing. I want to make sure that you give me 7 days of your best actions and attitude and focus, 14 days, 2 weeks, whatever it may be, of your best. And you come back to me in those 7 days, those 14 days, and you tell me if you want to quit then. They never quit. Why? Because you're feeling amazing. Everything's working out. It's going great. This is what you wanted. This is what you asked for. So it's easy to give up when things aren't going your way. And it's also easy to keep winning when you're winning. But the most courageous, amazing thing to do is to show up as a winner when things are not looking like a winner. That's the key. Next is slowing down in summer. Like I already said, right? Do not slow down in summer. Do not ruin your momentum. Next is too fast in spring and you're rushing it, right? If you're trying to rush things, trying to get it done overnight, no. You got to accept where you're at. You got to do your part. Next is change everything in fall. So you're in a fall season, systems are broken down, and you change your entire business strategy. When in reality, what you need to change is maybe one thing on your sales script, one thing in your marketing, one thing in your message to your audience. But instead, you change the niche, you change the business structure, you change the logo, you change the colors. You're a brand new business now. Now you got to almost restart and reset, right? So don't change everything in fall. So you can start to see now how important this is to understand the seasons of change. And once you can truly master them, you will become a master of yourself and personal transformation, which will help you get to the highest levels possible. So how to show up in every season. Let's start it with spring. First and foremost, when it comes to a spring season, again, this is the time to plant the seeds. What I really suggest right here, I'm in a spring season right now for myself, so I can really tell you best. What I really suggest here is a few things. Number one is you're slowing down, which is not slowing down growth. It's a part of it, but you're slowing down so you can speed up. This is where you're dialing in the little things that matter most. You're focusing on the big things that are going to drive the needle forwards. You're investing into it. You're putting the time and the care into it. You're improving your skill set. You as a person are getting better. In this season, have the right expectations. And this is how I go about expectations because I understand that my mind is limited to a certain extent right now. So the goals and visions I have are in a way limited. So what I do is I focus on the feeling and the state of it. And I have a vision of it, but I keep that loosely held because I know that sometimes the vision, the result, is actually probably going to be bigger than what I can even imagine. So it's kind of the direction and that flow and that state that I follow, but I don't hold too hard onto how it should be. My expectations are not so solidified, we'll say. I expect to win every time. I expect to reach my dream and goals no matter what, but I don't expect it to be, okay, it has to be tomorrow and this and this and this and this. because I just do my part. And my part and your part is your actions, your attitude, and your focus. That's your part. Next in spring is gather wins. Maybe you're not seeing the results right now in your business or your financials, but maybe right now your body is blowing up. You're looking amazing. You're getting a six pack. You're hitting PRs on bench or whatever it may be. Gather the wins wherever you can because that's going to keep you driving forwards. Next is trust bucket. Remember, every single day is a new reset. Get your trust bucket in the right place. Make sure your trust is in the right focus. Are you trusting that everything's working out for you and that's how you're showing up every single day? Are you trusting that the results are going to come and doubting yourself? Have the right trust bucket. And lastly is a routine and system. Keep a very stupid, simple system, a routine, 3 to 5 things that you can do every day that move the needle forwards in your life, and trust in that. Know that this is the way. Be okay with changing up if you need to, but study the people that you want to be like. See kind of what they do, what they talk about, and then make up your own kind of to-do list and that you can do consistently every day or almost every day. And follow that routine, follow that system, and allow that to just kind of automate the results. Allow the results to come from that. Right? Every action has a consequence. So continue to act in the direction that you want to go, and the consequence of that will be the results that you want. Summertime. Summertime, my favorite season. Everyone's favorite season. Why? Because it's all gas and no brakes. All gas and no brakes in summertime. What I mean by that is that this is the winning season. This is where all your hard work, all the things that you put in the winter, you had the courage to keep going through the darkness. You had the courage to keep a temper during the fall season, to keep showing up, to not give up on yourself. You had the discipline and the patience to go through spring. You did your part. Awesome. Now you get summer season. And summer season is a time to maximize because everything is just flowing naturally. Everything's happening way easier and the results are coming out of nowheres. A crazy season for extreme expansion. In this season, it's important that you ride this momentum as hard as you can. Do not celebrate too hard. Do not slow down here. Do not slack off here. Ride that momentum. Don't make any crazy changes because it's probably not needed. Everything's working, so maximize it. This is the idea of get better before new. Don't add anything new here. Just get better at what you're already doing and do not slow down. That's really all I got to say about that. Have a consistent routine, stay disciplined to that routine, and do not slow down. This is the season for winning. So win, 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 win. Next, fall. Oh, another thing with summer too is try to I always suggest journal every single week, but that just reminds me that I got a journal today. Actually, it's Monday. But try to mark down how you're showing up, what's different, how you're feeling, etc. in every single season of life because you will come up with and find your own patterns and how you function, how you show up in every single season, and it makes the journey 10 times easier. Fall. Okay? Fall is right here, the identity mismatch section, and this is the time for reflection. Seeing what isn't working anymore? What's no longer helping me get to my next level? Because you're almost capping out here but you are getting clear on the new next level. So it's like, how do I stabilize this? How do I make this the new baseline? How do I reach that next level? What's required of me? What do I need to let go? Time of reflection, time where you make small tweaks and changes, but nothing huge, right? Old systems are starting to fall apart. Don't change everything overnight. Change one small thing, test it out. One small thing, test it out. Next is only control what you can control and do your part like I just mentioned. All right. Some things are out of your control. You can't control everything. And the more that you try to control certain things, the more it falls apart and the more worse it gets. So do your part and trust in the rest. Next, focus on the wins. Always find wins every single season, but always, always find wins. But especially when things are kind of breaking, not working a bit, you're probably going to be a little more stressed out. So have something to help you with that stress and to focus on the good, the good, the good. Okay, next is less is more. I already talked about this in spring. It's kind of the same thing for that. You don't need to change every single thing up. Dial in the small tweaks and do your part because sometimes in the fall, if you do this properly, if you keep yourself regulated, you don't need to go through winter. And lastly is find the resistance, the old patterns that you can work through. So that way you can excel that growth way faster. Okay. Lastly, we've got winter, guys. So winter It is a season of shedding. A season of shedding. Now, I went through a 7 to 8 month winter last year, and it was the biggest, most depressed I've ever been, or saddest I've ever been. It was a complete shedding of my old identity. The old Caden I say died. If you knew me before 2025, you do not know me now, because that old version of me is literally dead. He's gone. This is a completely new self, a new identity, a new whole new me. And in that winter, oh my gosh, was it ever heavy? It was heavy, it was hard, and I'm going to share with you the best lessons I took. So that way, if you're in a winter season right now, you can keep going through this void. Number one is surrendering. I put that at the bottom, but it's number one. Here's what I mean by surrender. I recommend if you're going through this season right now, read the book. I think it's called The Art of Surrender. No, sorry, The Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer. Unbelievably good book. Flows super easily. Really good read. When you're in this season of winter, you feel the need to try to control everything you can because things are falling apart. Things are out of your control. So the only thing that you want to do is try to control what you can. But the more and more you try to hold on, the harder it gets, the more it hurts, the more painful it becomes. And this season, things are falling apart. You're going to feel like a failure sometimes. You're going to be so hard on yourself. You're going to be so scared. The animal inside you is going to be freaking out. You're going to be stressed, panicked, worried, doubt, overthinking. It's all going to happen, at least for most of us. The best thing that you can do is do not fight it. Surrender to it. Surrender doesn't mean you give up and quit. Not at all. Surrender means that you let go of control of what you don't have control over, mentally and physically. You let it go and you allow. So there's three A's. You acknowledge it. I acknowledge what's going on. I see what's going on happening. This is literally just how it is. I accept it. I accept it for what it is. And then I allow it. I let it go. I'm going to surrender to this. I'm going to trust that it's all happening for me. I'm going to trust that I don't understand right now why this is happening, but I'm going to trust that it's happening for me. And I'm going to do my part. And when you can truly embody that, adopt that, regulate your nervous system to that, as in calm yourself down to that, come to peace with that, you will flow through this winter way faster. The next thing that I do in winter seasons is I really rely on my loves and my passions. I start to get back into the things that make me happy because I'm in a season where things are falling apart in my life and things are not going the way I want to. So the last thing I want to do is keep doing things I don't want to do. So I really dial in on the things that I love to do, and I really practice that, and I really dive into the inner work, like meditation, reading the good books, movies by myself, whatever it may be, making sure I keep my mental state as strong as possible. Next is, I would say, grit. So find a summer season when you can. When I was going through this winter season, one thing I did that held me on track is my body. I was in such great shape and I dialed that in, and that was my summer season. So I focused on that. I stayed super disciplined in the gym. I really got that dialed in, and that helped me so much go through the winter season because I always told myself, like, even though all these things in my life are falling apart right now, and I mean all these things, like my old business, my relationships of 5 years, like all my best friends, teammates, family stuff happening, everything felt like it was falling apart from my view at the time. But having that grit and knowing, like, hey, you know what? Despite all this, I still show up to the gym basically every single day. I work on myself. I'm healthy and I'm fit. I still have this. If everything I lose, I still have this. I still have myself. I still have my body. I still have my mind. And I can keep developing that. And that helped me so much. Next, trust, support, motivation. If you're a guy watching this video, one thing that you're probably grown up to do is maybe you don't really know how to handle your feelings or how to talk about your feelings or face them. I was the same way. Something for me that helped me personally is what I would do, because I felt the same way. I felt like nobody understood me. So I would go to the woods and I would listen to podcasts and videos of spiritual people and people that I like to be like, and I idolize, and I read their books, and I would listen to their words as if they're talking to me, and I would study what they were saying, and I would practice it, and I would journal it out, and I would do the work. And then once in a while, when I was really breaking down, I would give somebody who I really trusted a call. But if you're like me, you might have a hard time going to people. So what I do is I go to my idols online, I listen to the videos, I study the videos, but I do suggest have somebody there that They don't need to necessarily understand you because sometimes you go through things that you just feel like nobody's ever gone through this, and I promise you somebody definitely has. But you need somebody there who's going to be open-minded, who is willing to understand you, willing to hear you out, who will not judge you and think you're crazy. That's really what you need at the end of the day. If you can find someone like that in your life, that you hold on to them tightly because that is extremely, extremely rare. Now, next thing I'll say is winter season is you face it head on. A lot of people, they don't want to face their emotions head on. They don't want to feel their emotions fully. They don't want to deal with the situations. They don't want to deal with that piling up debt. They don't want to really look at their business and say, hey, this thing's failing and not working out right now. You need to face it head on. Otherwise, it sticks. It stays around. Life kind of throws 3 to 4 themes at a time at you. And if you don't deal with them, they stay and they linger, and you don't really change much. And instead, what happens is we procrastinate, we distract ourselves, we numb ourselves. Face it head on, feel it fully, go through it. Go through it all because what you notice is freedom is on the other side of it every single time. Period. Only going forwards. And that is the seasons of change. So, one thing I will remind you at this train today is that you asked for all of this. It's just never how it seems to be. So, ride the waves. Do not get caught up in the resistance, in the struggles, in the winter seasons, in the loops. Try to keep in that flow over and over and over again. Don't get too caught up in the highs. Don't get too caught up in the lows. Don't get attached to anything. Just stay connected to it all and ride the wave and do your part and enjoy it all for how it is. And what you'll realize at the end of the day is that it truly does all work out for you. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the training for today. Now, if you feel like this really resonates with you and you are a driven entrepreneur or a high achiever who has a massive dream that you need to fulfill, a calling that is calling your name, but you're stuck in your own way. You're self-sabotaging, you're giving up, you can't stay consistent, you're in your head too much, you're stuck at a plateau. That's exactly what we do at my new company, Beyond Identity. You can apply down below. But also make sure that you like and subscribe if this really hit home for you today. I come out with trainings every single Monday and every single Thursday. Thank you so much for being here, guys, and I'll see you on the next training.